So it's time to fill you guys in on the R18 K24 swap. To recap for you guys and get you up to speed to where I am now, we started off with my car sitting outside for like 2 years and it was dirty, spiders everywhere, so first thing I did was wash it off. After cleaning the car and moving it inside, I actually didn't film much because initially my plan was to just find out what was wrong with the engine and fix it. But as I dove into it, I realized that the engine was more hurt than I expected. Just in case I ever decide to post this stuff. Open the valve cover. It looks kind of milky. So I didn't really film much until I started to pull the engine. So I've been chugging away and getting this thing ready to pull and trying to get the harness all out, which has been a pain. So all these connectors are woven all throughout the engine. I realized I had to pull the intake manifold and I finally just got that loose, ready to come out. Intake manifold is out. The windshield cowl stuff all had to come out for the intake manifold to have enough room to clear. I think that the harness is pretty much ready to come out. So I finally acquired this thing from my buddy Rob. And it's time to figure out how I'm going to use that to get this guy out of here. So I decided to pull the transmission mounts out and ratchet strap to this. On the other side, probably not the safest way of doing it, but I ratchet strap looped around. It's connected to here. Let's see how that does. I'm gonna do the same concept on this side, but as you can see, I realize it's kind of hard to wedge that out. So I'm gonna take the whole mount. Here is my updated setup. I pulled that little bar over there off so I have more room so I don't have to go as high when I'm in the garage. I was trying to pull it out and as my dad pointed out, the AC line right here is still connected, so I just unbolted that and pulled it off. Over here, I guess. And we'll try again. I had to pause on pulling this because I realized there's a transmission cable that is stuck in there. That's the last thing that I seem to have missed. And I traced it all the way back just to realize that I had to pull it out of here. So I guess the disassembly of the interior begins. Gotten a little bit further, got that little cover thing off. I have to get this guy off, but to do so I had to get all of this stuff back here off. So that should be fun, but it is kind of cool to see how the shifter works. Basically, it's like a sequential. It's a very shitty one. Took a lot of parts off of the interior and I'm learning a lot. Pop this guy out and then you have to turn this counterclockwise and then pop the whole thing out this way. And so I'm going to try and do that. It's finally free. And I can pull the engine out. So another thing that I realized I forgot to remove, this torque mount thing right there. But that's why we take things slow. So that mount is now disconnected. Oh, this baby's moving freely now. I was pulling on it and realized that this ground right here is what I was stuck on. This is my first time pulling an engine by myself, so there's that. Oh my goodness. I think we did it. I do want to pull this thing apart and find out what happened to it. I am saying goodbye to this engine. Unfortunately, I don't think I have time to pull it apart. So I'm just gonna put it in the corner over here. Farewell, friend, you were good to me for 140,000 miles. I'm about to begin taking apart the interior of this car. And so after taking 2 bolts out of the bottom, this comes out pretty easily. With the glove box off, this is what's coming out next. Just some clips and some bolts down under there for the airbag. Those 3. So now at this point, I'm pulling out all these little 8 mils. This is ready to come out. Nice. I accidentally unsprung the clock spring. Make sure to pull this guy out if you are doing something like this. It's been like a good 2 weeks since I've had a chance to work on the R18. So I'm jumping back in, and I think what I'm doing first is pulling out some screws. Pull this screw out, that screw out. 3 up here, 2 down here, there, then another one up here. And I don't know about these 2, because these look like they're for vents, but I'm gonna do that for now. Oh, and this one right here. Just like that, this guy comes out. Everything is coming off. Yes, this guy. This guy, yeah. Pull this A-pillar off. That exposed. Another screw over here. So I'm gonna do the same thing on that side. It's been probably a week or 2 since I've had a chance to work on this. I actually was in Texas. As far as I remember, where I left off was there's a screw up here, and I think that will set the dash on this side free. So let's find out. That screw is off, and now if you notice, I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but way more of the dash is moving. So I just need to figure out what's holding it up on that side, hopefully. It is a new day. I got a new lens on here, so no more of that like autofocus stupidness. But so I think that the dash is ready to come out. We're gonna find out right now. That should be the tail end of the R18 part of this build, because at this point, if I get the dash out and pulling the wiring harness out, and then it's time to move on to the SI, which I haven't looked at in like over 2-3 months at this point. It's just been sitting in the corner. Let's get this dash out. What the heck are you doing, bro? Get out of here. It's been like 2 hours of trying to mess with this thing over here. Really, it's just 1 or 2 bolts holding the AC stuff in, but we're not keeping AC. So we've all kind of just decided just to yank on it and see what happens. That kind of worked. We're gonna try and pull it out now. Sick. I don't think we broke anything either. Oh, we did break stuff. This was the thing I was, Yeah, see, I told you it was the screws. We broke all the screws. So with the dash out, I'm going to follow this grommet and pretty much disconnect everything that the rest of the wiring harness is connected to. I think there's one more loom of wires I had to chase, and I will be ready to yank. It's Easter Sunday. I think I might have an ear infection, but on the bright side, the wiring harness is finally about to come out. You can see that's a little grommet boot thing. I've pretty much fed everything through there. I still got to do that little side, but this part out. I was planning on doing this later, but I guess this AC box thing has to come out in order to get to grommet way back there. After unbolting some screws, this guy comes out, and then I'm gonna try and do this with one hand. Or not. Nice. Pop the panels off. See where these wires lead. And they lead to whatever this box is here. So a few minutes later, it's all loose. Gonna yank it from the other side. I think that's the end of the wiring harness, hopefully. This is the moment that the harness comes out. Look at this chaos. I wish I had a better shot, but with the engine, dash, harness, and everything else pretty much out, it's now time to work on the K car and get it ready to pull the engine.